Everybody ready? Betsy, we good?
Yep.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. We'd like to talk about this storm, give you an update, and we really appreciate the media's help in disseminating this information. It's vitally important to get for people to hear what's been going on. My name is Roger Desjardins. I'm the county manager, and in just a moment I'll introduce the chair of the county commission, Kevin Ruane. But before that, we've been monitoring this storm since July 1st, this past Friday, and it's been just that, a tropical storm. The Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, has never given us an indication that they thought it would become a hurricane. So with that, it's been a fairly stable storm. As you know, it had sustained winds of about 60 miles an hour as it began to cross the island of Cuba. As it came out the north side, winds were down to about 50 miles an hour and then ultimately 40 miles an hour, and that was sustained and fairly stable. Well, at about 1:45 this afternoon, the Hurricane Hunter airplanes were flying the storm, and they found that the wind velocities were now sustained at 70 miles an hour. The forecast track has been fairly stable, as you know. You've been watching just like we have. The forward rate of speed of the storm is about 14 miles an hour, but what we expect locally is that starting at about 4 o'clock this afternoon, we're going to see the winds become variable and begin to increase in velocity through about midnight. Exactly what those winds are going to be is very difficult to tell. The eye of the storm is really going to be about 125 miles or so off the coast, and the tropical storm winds extend out farther than hurricane force winds, so it's difficult to say how that will ultimately affect Lee County, the coast, and inland. If the storm stays on its current forecast track, should be a non-event. On the other hand, if the storm track moves closer to the coastline and parallels the state of Florida, then we're going to see more effect from the storm. So with that preamble, I'd like to introduce the chair of the county commission, Kevin Ruane.
Thanks, Roger. Good afternoon. We're here to give you an update because the National Weather Service has expanded the tropical storm warnings for Tropical Storm Elsa to include inland Lee County as well as coastal Lee County. With weather conditions exceeded to deteriorate this afternoon, Lee County government has decided to close offices and facilities at 2 p.m. To ensure people can get home safely, we sent employees not needed for Tropical Storm Elsa home today. We encourage residents and businesses to make decisions in the coming hours that are right for them. Please take personal responsibility in making your decisions. If you go home now, stay home. Please don't go out. Operationally, our Lee County Parks and Recreation summer camps will remain open so the children get picked up. Lee Tran is currently operating for those who need transportation. We're planning on taking the buses off the roads at around 5 p.m. Trash pickup today is wrapping up, so we're on a regular schedule. Given the current National Weather Service and National Hurricane Center information, Lee County is declaring a state of emergency. We are doing this with an abundance of caution. We've been in constant communication with our EOC partners. At this time, shelters are not open. The storm has been fairly stable. We're preparing to respond to anything that changes that go along with this. Now's the time to make your way home, given the adjustments to the forecast. Thank you. Questions?
What does the state of emergency mean in this instance?
In this case, state of local emergency provides us with some extraordinary powers in the event that we have severe damage or flooding. By example, we could waive procurement code, for example, if we need to bring in a contractor in short order to help with some of that work. And then it also makes federal funding available should FEMA decide to pay for some of the storm.
Are there any extraordinary police-type powers that also accrue with the state of emergency?
Well, according to Florida Statute 252, actually, state of local emergency provides something akin to police powers, although we've never exercised those. That gives the county commission and the county manager and the sheriff all the authority they need to protect the public.
Are there
any areas within the county that we're worried about more so than others right now?
And you're talking about flooding, perhaps?
The storm in total.
Well, the storm in total, if we have a tidal surge between 4 and 6 feet, we would expect to see low-lying areas of the county. We all know where those are. They're traditional areas that flood. And then it will push water inland up the tributaries. But as you may recall, and Commissioner, you want to talk about actions we've taken since 2017?
So I think it's important to remember Hurricane Irma, and there's many things that we actually put in place to prevent any type of flooding for this event. So we learned a lot from Hurricane Irma, and obviously as a result of that, we put in many measures we think to be very effective during this situation.
The emergency declaration, is it going to expire at a known time, or is it indefinite from here on out?
It will expire within a week, and then would have to be renewed by the county commission.
Is there any indication of any travel difficulties or any particular roadways that could be anticipated during what you're hearing, or is the water going to drain away nicely?
We're not aware of any roads that have any issues whatsoever. We think it's all going to subside.
One of the big questions, and I know it was handled on social media today, bridges in the county are not going to be closing down, correct?
Fred?
We right now don't anticipate any of the bridges closing. As you know, these rain bands come through, and that's where the heaviest weather is. So conditions are different throughout the county depending on where the bridge is. The Lee County Sheriff's Department will be monitoring those bridges and will close them as necessary.
For the county as a whole, is there a specific point when we talk about wind velocity where emergency responses will take their safety into consideration before hitting the road?
It used to be that 40 miles an hour sustained winds, we took ambulances off the road, but we now have more sophisticated modeling for those vehicles. And so it depends on where in the county we encounter those winds and which of the vehicles we're talking about. Some of the fire department vehicles, for example, can stay out on the road at much higher velocities.
If we reach that point, is that something that will be communicated?
Yeah, if we reach that point, we will be posting that information on on all of our social media platforms and disseminating that to the media as well.
The important thing is if somebody is in need to still call 911?
If someone needs emergency service today, right now, yes, by all means, call 911 and continue to do that unless we tell you otherwise.
And does the emergency declaration open up any hotlines for people that need information?
Well, probably the best thing for people to do to stay well informed is go to our website, legov.com, and right on the homepage there's a button to click.
Thank you.
Appreciate everyone's time. Be safe out there. Thank you.